gonna give a lot of credit here to Donald Trump. And if you're on the left and you're like, oh, he brought home a hostage and cut out Israel, but he's Trump, boo, I don't wanna give him credit. What do you need? What do you like? So did you not wanna bring home a hostage? Did you wanna make sure he followed the orders of the Israeli government? I don't know what you want, but I'm a fair person and an honest person. Trump deserves a lot of credit for this deal.
Edan Alexander, an American citizen who, until recently, most thought was no longer living, thought was dead, is going to be released in about 2 hours, actually. And he's going to be released before the eyes of Steve Witkoff, who has done a fantastic job.
As you just heard, President Donald Trump announced today that a dual American citizen who also unfortunately was a hostage of Hamas has been released by Hamas. The individual freed is Edan Alexander, the last known American hostage in Gaza. And it's important to understand just how Alexander was released, how this deal was made through the United States and Hamas. So per ABC News, Hamas announced its intention to free Alexander on Sunday, describing the decision as a part of the steps being taken to achieve a ceasefire. The statement said Hamas had been in contact with American officials over the past few days as part of ceasefire negotiations. And that account was backed up by an anonymous source from the United States. This US official familiar with the deal to release Alexander told ABC News that the agreement came together in recent days via direct talks between the US and Hamas. In other words, Israel was not part of this hostage release negotiation. They were not part of this deal. We're gonna revisit that in just a minute. But Trump announced this on Truth Social as well, writing the following: I'm grateful to all those involved in making this monumental news happen. This was a step taken in good faith towards the United States and the efforts of the mediators, Qatar and Egypt, to put an end to this very brutal war and return all living hostages and remains to their loved ones. Hopefully, this is the first of those final steps necessary to end this brutal conflict. I look very much forward to the day of that day of celebration. I mean, he mentions ending the war several times, and it's clear that that is what the president wants, and that is good news. How that ends up manifesting, we'll see. But the Trump administration isn't just bypassing Israel, they're even calling Israel out for negotiating in bad faith and serving as an obstacle to ending the war. According to Channel 12, here's what Steve Witkoff, who is the Trump administration's special envoy to the Middle East, told hostage families in Israel, quote, we want to bring the hostages home, but Israel is not willing to end the war. Israel is prolonging it despite the fact that we don't see where else we can go and that an agreement must be reached. So you can kind of understand why the Israelis hate Witkoff, want to get rid of Witkoff, but make no mistake about it, Witkoff is the first American official who's willing to call a spade and call out Israel for serving as an obstacle to a peace deal.
Yeah, so first off, I'm gonna give a lot of credit here to Donald Trump. And if you're on the left and you're like, oh, he brought home a hostage and cut out Israel, but he's Trump, boo, I don't wanna give him credit. What do you need? What do you like? So did you not wanna bring home a hostage? Did you wanna make sure he followed the orders of the Israeli government? I don't know what you want, but I'm a fair person and an honest person. Trump deserves a lot of credit for this deal, okay? So now bringing the brother home already is great news, but that also proves a second thing, which is look at how easy it was. Like all he had to do was remove Israel from the negotiations, talk to Hamas, and you know what Hamas got in return? Nothing, just a promise that, hey, you know what? We'll keep this in mind, it'll create some goodwill. Yeah. Super easy, okay? Why are we not getting the deal done? Well, listen to Witkoff. Witkoff is telling you it's because the Israelis don't want peace. They want continual war. Why? Because they want to occupy the Gaza Strip and steal that land.
Right. And look, Witkoff, I just want to note, hasn't lost all hope that there could be a ceasefire deal, although he's kind of going into this with eyes wide open, like he can see what the dynamic is with Israel involved. He says to the hostage families, there's currently an opportunity window that we hope Israel and all the mediators will take advantage of. We are putting pressure on all the mediators and doing everything we can to bring the hostages home. So he still has a little bit of hope, but I can't believe I'm saying this. Someone who Donald Trump tapped to serve as his special envoy to the Middle East, Donald Trump tapped him, is way better on this issue than who Biden had involved in peace negotiations and a ceasefire deal. It's just incredible to see it.
Yeah, so look, redemption on every count. So we told you this isn't about Jews, this is about foreign governments. Witkoff is a Jewish American, and he's saying the right thing, doing the right thing, representing America, and I appreciate it, and doing it way better than Anthony Blinken did. And so it has nothing to do with religion. It has with two different governments. One's on the wrong track, and we need to stop enabling them. We need to help our ally get back to reality and decency and morality. And I'm sure that Witkoff agrees, and that's why he's saying things that are true. Now that leads to the second thing. So what did we tell you? We told you that the Democrats are a bunch of robots and they're never going to waver 1 inch from what the donor class wants, okay? Trump is a wild card, and that wild card could go disastrously, as when he was talking about how we would have ground troops in Gaza and they'd build a Trump Riviera, absolute disaster. Talking about maybe the occupation of Gaza and the West Bank, etc. But a wild card could also has some chance of going in the right direction. So it took a wild card to have an envoy who will say, well, the Israelis don't want peace. Oh, truth broke out.
I know, it's incredible.
So let's be honest, a Democratic envoy would have never said that.
Not in a million years.
They would not have had permission to say that. Joe Biden's envoys obviously never said that. They would lie on Israel's behalf every time. They say, oh, we really want to get to a ceasefire, but it's of course all Hamas's fault. The son of a bitch, Hamas terrorists. Israel's great and wonderful, and there's nothing they could do about it. Oh my, Israel, right? So that was Blinken and all the Jake Sullivan and all the loser robots in the Biden administration. And Kamala promised to do the exact same thing. So if you're a Democrat, please wakey. Right?
They won't.
And they won't. Oh no, I bet she would have miraculously turned around 180 degrees and done the right thing. No, she promised that she would never do the right thing. And so we're not like blind about Trump. You crazy, naive? No, it could get way worse, right? But since he's not a robot, sometimes truth accidentally breaks out.
Trump doesn't abide by any of the rules associated with traditional political parties in this country, right? So this isn't a Republican versus Democrat thing. This is a Trump versus typical status quo politician thing. Because make no mistake about it, had Trump been any other traditional conservative Republican, we would not be having a conversation about his special envoy admitting that Israel is the one serving as an obstacle to a ceasefire. And so, look, there are some interesting developments right now because of the fact that Trump has kind of soured on his relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu and vice versa. And so that might be changing the dynamic of US foreign policy as it pertains to Israel moving forward, but specifically during the Trump administration. I think any other administration that comes after Trump is gonna revert right back to giving Israel everything it wants. So here's what I mean. So look, Netanyahu has been pushing the United States to bomb Iran, to get engaged in a hot war with Iran on behalf of Israel. To Donald Trump's credit, he has resisted those calls. He does not want to go to war with Iran. In fact, what he'd like to do is enter a new nuclear deal with Iran to prevent them from building nuclear weapons. And I am 100% supportive of Trump's thinking on that. Now, the US also ended its strikes against the Houthis, or as Trump likes to say, the Houthis, who were very brave, as he also said. Netanyahu didn't like that. And again, Trump wants to engage in these negotiations with Iran. Netanyahu hates that. So here's what NBC News reported on Sunday. Netanyahu was particularly upset when Trump said that he had yet to decide whether Iran would be allowed to enrich uranium under a new nuclear deal his administration is negotiating. For his part, Trump has been frustrated with Netanyahu's decision to begin a new military offensive in Gaza, which the president sees as at odds with his plan for rebuilding there. And according to Edan Goldenberg, who worked on Middle East policy during the Obama and Biden administrations, Netanyahu cannot publicly criticize Trump too harshly or really much at all because apparently Israelis love Trump, including right-wing Israelis. So Netanyahu's whole political strategy and survival strategy is based on holding his coalition and holding his political base together, Goldenberg said. And those folks love Trump. So for him to go very publicly against Trump is something he really can't do. So Cenk, this dynamic is just really interesting, and I hope it keeps going in this direction because maybe for the first time, I don't want to say that there could be a decoupling of this relationship between the United States and Israel, but frostier relations might actually bode well for the lives of innocent people who are currently trapped in Gaza.
Yeah, so let's break down all the ways that the decoupling is happening. It doesn't mean that it can't be reversed. It could be reversed at any second, and Trump is super fickle and he could go in the disastrous direction at any second. Having said that, for now, let's look at the facts without the emotions and the tribalism involved, okay? So did he attack Iran when Netanyahu told him to? No, he didn't. It's a huge story from the New York Times, and there's no question that Netanyahu wanted that attack. And my guess is he ordered it like he normally does, right? I order the American president to attack Iran on my behalf. And Trump was like, no. I haven't seen that in my lifetime. So, okay, to be fair, you could say, well, Biden didn't attack Iran either, and Obama made a great deal with Iran. So, and especially Obama. Obama did defy Netanyahu. Netanyahu did not want that deal, and he got us a great deal anyway. Okay, so that's all right, not bad. Give credit where credit is due, but yeah, Obama and others have done something a little similar, okay? And Obama's deal was better. And I don't say that because I'm a Democrat, because look, I'm even talking to Republicans now going, Marjorie Taylor Greene on this show was like, the Obama deal was actually pretty good. I mean, I never thought I'd see anything like that, right? So now, okay, the second thing. He did the deal with the Houthis and he cut Israel out of it. So, and Israel was super mad about it. He said, you're gonna stop bombing American ships and we're gonna stop bombing Yemen. And the Houthis were like, yeah, deal, let's go, right? It didn't say anything about stopping the bombing of Israeli ships or ships headed to Israel. So Israel's like, how dare you? You did a peace deal for Americans and you did not consider Israel first? And Trump's like, yeah, that's right, that's what I did. And then the third thing is the hostage deal. Israel doesn't want the hostages released. Why? Well, first of all, our envoy is telling you that, right? Basically. But the reason they don't want them released is because it's a pretext for, we had to bomb Gaza more. We had to keep taking more and more of Gaza's land. In fact, all of it. We had to drive out all the Palestinians into the desert and starve them to death because of the hostages. We were defending ourselves from a war that started, I don't know, 28 years ago or whenever it started. We are still doing self-defense as we took the Sudetenland, I mean Gaza, okay? So, and Trump is like, but there's an American hostage there. Israel's like, no, shut up, don't worry about the American hostage. We need him as a pawn. Trump's like, I don't think so. Hey, Hamas, you wanna make a deal? You give me the hostage, I give you nothing. And Hamas is like, yeah, okay, deal. If you can't say that that was good from Trump, then you really do have TDS, okay? So that was great, and the decoupling is real. It doesn't mean it'll hold, but if we fully decouple and go, Israel, so there's somebody doing this the other day and I loved it. Love you, see ya, bye-bye, okay? Hey, listen, you're a grown-up country, one of the top 20 economies, enjoy, okay? Right. But we don't have to give you endless money. Nobody ever said that. We don't have to kiss your ass. We don't have to do our entire foreign policy based on you. By the way, is Trump doing it out of good reasons or because he's getting a lot of business deals from Qatar, UAE, and Saudi Arabia? I don't know, but I don't care too much either because we got to end that genocide.
100%. And look, we live in a corrupt political system where even foreign governments have sway over our politicians and the presidential administration. If bribery from other players helps balance things out in regard to this war, I will allow it.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.